Rabbi Akiva Tatz has a beautiful metaphor for this. He says, imagine that you are in a construction site and you have a bag of tools at your side. You don't know what you're doing there, but you look around, it's a building site. You look at the bag next to you, you open it up, and there's all sorts of things for cutting stone. I must be here to be a stone cutter on this building that we're building. Or he looks in the bag and sees electrical tools. I must be the electrician. So if we carefully examine what we have in our bag, we can know what we're here to do. Hashem has given us exactly what we need to accomplish our mission here. If you think that you don't have the tools you need for the job, then you're mistaken. You're either mistaken because you're simply aware of your gifts, or maybe you think you should be doing something else and you don't have the gifts to do it. But no, God perfectly matches us up for what he put us here to do. Our challenge today is to figure out what we've got in our bag, where we are in space and time, what the world needs, and how we can use what we have to bring God's goodness into the world. These are the questions that I have. Think about the things you have in your bag and the things you don't have. How has this bag of qualities prepared you for your work in life? How do you feel that God has separated you out from others? Have the things you've considered to be faults, blemishes, or weaknesses dragged you down? Or have they directed you down a particular path and spurred you to greater heights?
Paul, why don't you summarize it? You really gave a good response to question number 3. I think that was good.
I think I may say something small and Jocelyn will come in. How you defined holiness, that was really an amazing way and beautiful way of stating it. I've always thought on holiness, but this was very refreshing and revelational, and in such a simplicity yet depth that makes a person embrace, really, because if you see the way holiness is, the moment you mention holiness in our society, there are people who seem to be there, they don't meet the standards and they quickly draw back. But the way you've stated it is really something that one can pursue and embrace. So that was really, you did that at the beginning, so it just put me in, and I was all consumed by your presentation. So thank you.
Your answer to question 3, can you share that as well?
Yes, I have gone through a lot of challenges as I grew up as a child, as an orphan who didn't have parents, who didn't have a place to stay. So you know what that means. There were lots of challenges that I had to deal with. Later on, when I gave my life to the Lord and I began to serve in the ministry, I realized that the challenges I went through became the solution for me in the ministry, to be compassionate, loving, forgiving, and accommodative to those who are around me in the ministry who are going through same kind of challenges or even more than what I was going through. So what was actually a challenge was a preparation for the call that was upon my life. By that time, I had not known this call was upon my life until later on.
There was also a lot of discussion about the differentiation between men and women and how that impacts how women can contribute in the context of a priesthood. I think we have to move on to group number 2.
Mentioned a few things that we talked about. In our group was Alan, Dave, Christiane, Eve, Kim, and us. We started off, Dave and Christy. So we talked first of all about the gifts that God puts in your bag. Are they things that you're given, or do they evolve? Some people felt that they started off being a certain way and ended up being another way. They went through difficult times in relationships and found that they were changing and maybe not the same way that they used to be. God does bring together everything that happens to us into something we can use to bring glory and redemption in the world. Another concept we discussed was how sometimes we feel we don't fit in. A gift that God gave the Jews. They were supposed to be a people apart, and stand for things that other people didn't stand for. Right now, we're being pressured by society and by pro-Hamas thugs to fit in with their ideology and not to stand up for what we believe in. This idea of not fitting in is perhaps part of our gift. We talked about each tool having a specific purpose, and if you try to use that tool for something else that it's not meant for, it doesn't work properly. So we need to learn what our tools are and what they're used for. There are people with special intelligence that we may not recognize immediately, but ultimately we see that those people have gifts that we don't have. And that brought up the question of, is there anybody who's so severely disabled that they can't bring a gift, that they can't bring light? Dave's hunt was Stephen Hawking. The last point is that none of us have all the tools. We need each other. We each bring a tool. We each bring our bag and we offer it to everybody. When that happens, we all are blessed and we all can grow from it.
We had the opportunity to interact with Nahama and Christy. We got to actually practice receiving the gifts and from the interpreter. Thank you for being here. You have been so helpful. It was wonderful to see how they have grown as a result, different gifts, different tools in their bag, and they are contributing to society and helping other people. It's marvelous.
Thank you so much, Mary. That was beautiful. We had to deal with a breakout room where we had zero ability technically to figure out what to do until finally interpreter came in and took care of it. But the first half, we had to keep our sense of humor and work through it. I'm very grateful for all of you that stayed in our room, even though we had this problem.
I'll just end with two insights. We spoke a lot about men and women, and a lot of very interesting things came up. But the bottom line is that we see today how women are becoming much more involved in public roles that are crucial. It's a doubling of our capacity, whether it's in teaching or guiding those who come for guidance from the priesthood. That was one very interesting aspect. Another was in reviewing the different holidays like the Shabbat, how these holidays play such an important role in helping us find inner gifts and learn how to come together more collectively in becoming one with each other and with Hashem. But there was so many wonderful things I can see from all of the groups. It's an opportunity to thank Chava for preparing such a wonderful session.
It was beautiful. Thank you.
We look forward to next week. Thanks, everyone.
See you later.
Brachot.
Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.